welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. There's all kinds of family. We chose this one. This is episode, well, first of all, Merry Christmas. This is episode 334, The Christmas Chronicles, Part 2. I'm Joey Lewandowski.
I'm Joe, too. And this episode is brought to you by Eyes, Lips, Face Cosmetics and the Dirty Pillows Lip Kit, Elf by Jennifer Coolidge. I didn't know it would look so good, Jennifer Coolidge said. This pout-plumping lip kit created with Jennifer Coolidge makes sure that everything that goes on your mouth is iconic as what comes out of hers. Shout out to Eyes, Lips, Face.
Well, shout out to Jennifer Coolidge and welcome to Too Fast, Too Forever. This episode's releasing, maybe for the first time in the history of the show, a day early. This is coming out on Monday morning because Monday morning is Christmas morning. So you're listening on the main feed. This is the gift to all of you, the sequel to a film that I cannot believe how little I remember from the first movie.
Zero. Absolutely zero.
The only thing I remembered, and I'll introduce our guest in a second, the only thing I remembered is when Santa called her Katy Cat. I was like, I remember Katy Cat, but like...
I didn't remember that.
The older brother, who's barely in this movie, also has a nickname, could not afford the... If you're like, hey, I will give you $10 million right now for the older brother's like character name or nickname, don't know.
Zero. Nope.
But like we did the first one a year ago, and I remember almost none of it. But with us today, we made him swear a blood oath last year to come back for this movie. He is here to talk about The Christmas Chronicles Part 2, streaming on Netflix. Dr. Chris Podcast. Hello, Chris.
Hello. I wrote down the three things that I remembered from this movie.
From this movie or from the first movie?
Sorry, from the first movie.
Okay. What were the three things you remembered?
We did not discuss this in advance. We did not know that we would all get like Men in Black neuralizer about this movie.
I have zero memory of that movie.
Things that I remembered, or at least remembered saying in the podcast was, I remember him getting chased by the cops. I think that was like an action sequence.
Oh, yes. I remember
I think
that
Tyrese
now.
was a cop.
Tyrese was not in the first movie.
Not at all?
Tyrese was a cop in Morbius, or a detective in Morbius.
Fuck, okay, cool. Okay, so I just like
confuse.
pieced it together. Okay, yes.
Morbius is the Christmas vampire movie. Keep going.
I remember assuming the kids would be like disgusting shit boys, and they weren't, and that was like pleasantly surprising. And I remember thinking, not enough Goldie Hawn. If we're gonna stunt cast,
didn't we
Hollywood
just
couple,
bring her in for like the last scene?
Nick
She was like
Fury.
in just like the last scene.
Yes.
I remember you talking about that now that you bring it up. Yes.
I will say right now, still not enough Goldie Hawn.
I mean, too much
At least
of
not
everything.
enough for her to do.
I think if you could describe this movie in 2 words, it is too much.
So Kate Pierce, now a cynical teen, is unexpectedly reunited with Santa Claus when a mysterious troublemaker threatens to cancel Christmas forever. So Clay Cadis, who directed the first movie, was unavailable to direct the sequel. So instead, they got Christopher Columbus, a.k.a. Chris Columbus, who directed the first 2 Home Alones, the first 2 Harry Potters, and produced the first film. And they're like, you know Christmas movies, you can do this. And so he's like, you got it. So he also wrote the movie, which he also wrote Gremlins and Goonies. He also was co-written by Matt Lieberman, who, Joe, important to us, wrote the movie Scoob with Zac Efron.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Craig Lieberman's brother.
No, I have no idea. Maybe. I don't know. Shot by Don Burgess, who shot Forrest Gump and Spider-Man and Aquaman. 65
Insane.
on Rotten Tomatoes, 44 for the audience, 51 Metacritic. While it's missing some of the magic of the original, The Christmas Chronicles 2 serves up a sweet second helping of holiday cheer that makes the most of its marvelously matched leads.
Sure.
That sounds like the movie, yeah.
Do you remember, I forgot this, Steven Van Zandt, Little Steven, had a cameo in the first movie. He was in a jail scene in that movie. There was like a whole...
Stevie Van Zandt?
Mm-hmm. In the
No,
first
I
one, there was
don't
like a
remember that.
band. I remember now reading this thing that I read 3 days ago. I already forgot. He wrote the song The Spirit of Christmas for this film, which I think is the song they perform in the airport in 1990. Jola the Yule Cat, who is an animated character in this movie, takes inspiration from Icelandic folklore. In Iceland, there are 13 Santas called the Yule Lads, sweet, who used to be a mischievous bunch. But in the present day, they give gifts to children in the 13 days leading up to Christmas. Their mother is still an evil folklore character who kidnaps badly behaved children and eats them. The Yule Cat is hers and eats children who don't get new clothes for Christmas. However, he is different in appearance than the Jola in this film. The Icelandic name for Yule Cat is Jólakutturinn.
I think that we should bring back more Death to Christmas.
What do you mean by death? Like more death, elements of death.
Elements of death and threatening children. I think that children should be fearing for their lives at Christmas. I think that would be my optimal Christmas.
Christmas movies do love dead parents.
They love dead parents, yes. Yeah, but I mean, I want to scare the kids.
The reason I read that out loud here is because there's no real trivia about this movie one way or the other. Like, Netflix doesn't really do a lot of like that kind of like behind like that kind of stuff. This is just like hey, this is a movie to put on Christmas morning that no one's gonna hate or whatever. But
yeah, exactly.
Joe, do you remember anything from the first movie other than Tyrese being in it, which he was not?
No. I remember that the brother was a shitbag, and when she said, I liked you better when you steal cars, I was like, oh yeah, I think he did like commit crimes. And Santa like uncrimed him. I remember them being in like maybe a diner at one point, but that was only unlocked watching this. When I went in, I was like, because like the first thing it's like Tyrese is there. I was like, okay, cool. Tyrese was the cop. He like wooed their mom, and I made up this whole backstory that apparently didn't happen. And then I was like, that's why they're together now. And like, so yeah.
No, just a guy who's been dating their mom for a while that met off screen.
Yeah, because they said 10 months, and I was like, he was there last Christmas. What the fuck kind of math is she doing? But sure.
Nope. I didn't love this movie. I didn't hate this movie. I know that Dr. Chris hated this movie. Joe, what did you think of the Christmas Chronicles Part 2? I know that you hate, keeping in mind that you hate Christmas.
If I was 12 and smoked a giant bowl of meth, I think I would have really liked this movie.
Okay.
I'm not 12, and I didn't smoke meth before I watched this movie.
Okay.
So, in that sense, it's whatever.
I have a similar take. I think for how kind, and I'm not going to say kind, because that makes it sound like it's a bad movie that I just like gave points to for some reason. I thought the first one was a surprising little Christmas movie with heart. It's never going to go down as like the next classic, but it's certainly a movie that you can watch with your kids on around Christmas.
Yeah.
This was a movie made for children who were raised on an iPad that had Fortnite on it that their parents gave them to shut up.
Right? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I guess that was my meth comment. It just like so hyper stimulating and no charm.
I feel like the difference, and again, I don't have kids, none of us have kids, but I feel like the difference between the first movie and this movie is that the first one is like, hey, this is a movie that my kids love that I actually don't mind watching. And this one is just like, this is the kind of movie that my kids love that I never want to see again. But like, if your kid latches onto this, like,
you just put it on the background.
I love Who Let the Dogs Out in 2020. I want to hear that scene where the elves are, DJing Who Let the Dogs Out. I can see this movie being like very grating, but I think, Chris, you're right. Like the first movie was like, oh, this is actually pretty good. I think in both movies, from what I remember, the first one and this one, like Kurt Russell's really going for it. And I think he's charming in this.
Kurt Russell's great. I also don't think that what you're saying is like, I don't think this movie could ever become grating because I don't think I'd ever remember enough of this movie for it to become grating.
No, but if you had to watch this movie 7 times a week for 2 months.
I don't. That's why I have cats.
I know, but I'm just saying, but yes.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue with this movie, and it becomes evident very, very quickly. Two issues. One, there's been like 4 good child actors in the history of cinema. And the first movie really was kind of carried by Kurt, obviously. But the older kid kind of grounded the movie more, and I think gave the younger sister something to play off of. But now that the younger sister is the older sister to an even younger child, you just had a little too much loud. Yeah. And also someone, probably Chris Columbus, because he's a hack, who's never made a good movie that he both wrote and directed. He can do one or the other. Don't let him do both. We've cranked the minioning up to 11 in this fucking movie. Someone loved those elves and
were the elves
minions
in the first movie?
Yes,
they weren't
that
were they?
though.
But they weren't.
Okay.
I remember the elf language, and I think I even said like, "Oh, we got some little minions here." But this, I had no idea that they could get this minion-y. Holy smokes!
They were very minions. You're right. They're very, very minions.
So there's always the question you have with movies when like you're telling a story. It's like, how do we like? What's the reason we're telling the story, right? Like is like, especially for the first movie, sequel is a little bit different sometimes, but like, is somebody new to a group? Is someone new to an entire area? Or is there, like whatever, like, and I think bringing a new kid in is a smart way to do it, right? Like the younger sister is like, Santa's real. I know Santa's real, but also everything sucks. And so to bring in another kid, like a fresh kid, I think is a smart move. But like, I don't like the turn from like girl who believes and might be on the verge of not believing to being like, I suck and I don't want to be here and I don't want to be on vacation and I hate this guy even though he's good to my mom. Like that turn, like that bratty kid turn is unappealing. And I think that a lot of the charm from the first movie, what I vaguely remembered and then what we've already talked about here, is that she was very likable, and to see that same actress in
it was
the same
a brother
character,
and sister.
Yeah.
It was a brother
There
and
was
sister
chemistry.
dynamic.
This, they split the siblings, well, future step siblings or whatever. They split them up for most of the movie.
I know, and that's the thing. Like they sideline this kid that like I thought would have been fun to have with it because he's like so positive and so cheerful, and they're just like, "All right, you're gonna help Mrs. Santa Claus take care of Dasher." Just like, okay, and like you're gonna be like an afterthought in every way.
It just kind of felt like vignettes, like a sugar rush, just one thing to the next with no real plot. And I know someone at home was like, "Well, it's a kids movie. Well, it would have a plot." Shut up. There are good kids movies. They exist.
Yes.
The Turtles movie came out this year,
Yes.
and that movie was a blast. And not just because I'm an old man who, for 2 hours, got to remember the one time he was happy in his life. Like it was a genuinely good movie. This is made to sell toys. Which is weird because I haven't seen any little annoying elf minions in the store or anything like that. There ain't no little there's no Bell's nickel sitting next to a Baby Yoda anywhere, though that's clearly what they're going for.
Yeah, it does feel like this was made for toys. But you're right. I don't think that there's any fucking toys
I think,
in this
and
movie.
I don't want to just harp on this because this is like the same criticism that everybody has, but like I think this is made for Netflix to just have things for people to put on. Like it's not made to like, you don't have to sell tickets. It's just like, it needs to be content that people be like, I want to watch that.
Sure, but you know what else is made for people to just put on Christmas? The fucking Yule log. And like, why bother with this when there's something that literally exists for you to ignore and is ambiance, as opposed to it's just screaming children.
Speaking of Yule logs, I just posted this on our X account.
Oh, yeah.
The Fast and Furious Twitter posted Fast and Furious YouTube posted an hour-long Fast and Furious barbecue Yule log. So if you want a Yule log, Fast and Furious themed, go to the Fast and Furious YouTube page. There's an hour-long.
I'm gonna force Rachel's family to watch this, like while they open presents.
It is such a good idea.
I'm just gonna put it on a loop and just see how long it takes them before somebody's like, "Why are you ruining Christmas?" I'd be like, I thought this is what you wanted.
2 years ago, I put on the Home Alone Yule log, which is just a looping gif of Joe Pesci's head being lit on fire by the blowtorch, and it was a hit.
I like
It was a
that.
hit.
I still have to watch the Adult Swim Yule log that like devolves into madness. It's like 35 minutes long. That came out like a
That's
year
fun.
or two ago.
Yeah, it's fun.
I also wish, for our sake, like Joe, when I messaged you a couple days ago, I'm like, there is something amazing about this movie. The amazing thing is the fact that
Did you watch it yet?
That Tyrese was in it. I'm just like, I had no idea. And he's in like the first 4 minutes and the last 4 minutes, and that's it. And he gets to sing a little bit, which the Fast and Furious does not.
You know, he wrote in his own fucking. This was the master of the art of, what did he say? He was the master of the art of improv. When he was in
Icons on Earth.
Icons on Earth. That was his improvisation.
But like, he kind of whisper sings, but also like he's not in the middle like hour 50. This is also a long movie. He's not in the middle like hour 50 of this movie. I'm like, I want Tyrese.
Yeah, I do too. Tyrese should have been a character in this.
He is. I wasn't wrong in thinking that he is also in Fast and Furious, right? So this is a Too Fast, Too Forever twofer.
He starts in 2. He's in at least 2 movies with Kurt Russell. There's like trivia about that on IMDb that I cut out because obviously, but he's in 7 and 8 with Kurt Russell.
Okay.
So this is kind of a reunion for them.
If they had a scene together.
I don't even know.
That's what I was going to say. They're not together in this movie at any point.
Also, in Fate of the Furious, he talks about Black Santa. He talks about Blanta. Like, you know, he could have been Black Santa. That would have been cool. But nope.
That'd have been really fucking cool. They should have killed Kurt Russell, and they should have like passed on the torch to Tyrese.
They should have Santa,
and then he could have done the musical number in 1990.
No, what would have been
that would have
sweet,
been his...
don't kill him, but like when Belsnickel wants to have like the whole premise of this movie is that Santa can tap into the Star of Bethlehem to power the North Pole.
And don't forget, if you're annoying enough as an elf, you become a human child.
There's like 5 like mortal, grievous sins that the elves can't commit. If they do all 5, they're banished. But they can do 4 or 5 over and over again, but they can't do all 5. And Belsnickel does all 5 and turns into a human, which is the thing he likes the most. And he's the kid from Hunt for the Wilder People.
And that I could relate. The thing that I dislike the most is human children.
Sure.
I can get to that.
And so he wants to start his own because he was like the most prolific elf creator and like made all these toys and like wanted credit. So he wants to make his own sort of North Pole, but in the South Pole, and call it Belsnickel's Village. It would have been cool if instead of that, they're like, well, he already started construction. Here, Tyrese, you can be Black Santa down in the South Pole. And then he and the son and like
race
the whole family.
wars.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would like to add on to the pile of things bad about this movie and say the villain. The villain is a huge one. The first movie didn't have a villain. You don't need one. It was just a race against time, if I recall correctly, to save Christmas.
And
like there were,
and he didn't believe in
yeah,
Santa.
and like you don't need an enemy, especially not one that has this weird "we need to talk about Kevin" backstory, and ends up looking like he's more dressed for Jan 6th than December 25th. Like this guy. Horrible actor. One, I know you said he's been in other stuff, but there's no effort here by this guy at all.
The child,
Belsnickel, the human
okay,
playing him.
Yeah.
Making him have like super villain gadgets just kind of pulls you out of any sense of like. I mean, there's like whimsy and wonder, but to have a bad guy that's got these like technological Marvel gadgets that can send people through wormholes. I don't know.
And
time.
In the first
time
one too,
travel.
if you remember. I remember the crazy colors of the sky. I don't remember that they were in the first movie, but when they like got pulled in the wormholes, like that, I mean, that looks familiar. But like they don't even
he can not time travel, but he can like space jump.
Yeah,
because he's Santa.
Right.
That makes that tracks. But the time travel, okay, I'm with you though. Yeah.
Well, I think on that note, like there's not enough. Like Mrs. Claus is kind of cue to Santa Claus's James Bond. Like she's got like wacky gadgets and stuff. She's like, these cookies blow things up. These cookies do this, whatever. But there's no like Mrs. Claus versus Belsnickel
She's like food
gadget
Q.
off.
She's like Q chef.
Yeah.
Everything's food related.
But like there's two people who make like gadgets and weird shit and like they don't like go head to head.
No. And actually he straight up says like actually what can always beat technology is real magic. And then that's the end of that. Just kind of drops that plot point for the most part. That's kind of the ADD aspect of this movie too, is that they set up a lot of things and then just drop them immediately. Like when they go to the weird elf Turkish village, they're like, well, a ritual to remake the Star of Bethlehem is very dangerous. And then 30 seconds later, it just happens.
It's done.
Bye.
So I have like a more higher level philosophical thought. Like I think that like a lot of the cartoons that we watched as children were like pretty crack driven. Like they feel like very insane, but like they're never like this like fast cut, no payoff shit like that, right? Or am I just nostalgizing myself to have a better thing? You know, what do you think? Like Ren and Stimpy is equivocally the same craziness as something like this, but does it feel different? Or am I imagining that it's different?
Well, I think there's a difference between something that is considered one of the best of the era and just a thing that exists in another era.
Yeah.
Like I think you could like something like Bluey, which everyone like even if you don't have kids, like you watch Bluey and be like, this is just really well made. Like this might not be for me, but like it's really well made. Like I think you could compare that to like a Ren and Stimpy. Like they're not the same for the same audience or the same tone or anything like that or the same art style, but like there is. I think it's fair to compare like the best of an era to the best of an era, but like you could just compare this to like some shit that was on Nickelodeon in 1990 that wasn't good. You know what I mean? Like that is just the same kind of thing.
Fair. Okay. Yeah. Yes. I was just like, am I wrong here to imagine that like this chaos does not feel like the same chaos or good chaos?
I just think the things that have lasted this long, in the zeitgeist, like a Home Alone or something like that, they just hold up better and they weren't made to be disposable. I mean, even take Home Alone, right? And take the Home Alone ripoffs. Like Baby's Day Out is fucking zany and wacky and slapstick to a very ridiculous, to the point where even me at that young age who loved Home Alone and wanted to see any Home Alone ripoff was like, I have a very vivid memory of that being the first movie that I ever got taken to the theaters to see and went, oh, movies can be bad. I didn't know that.
Oh.
And it's because
was that the movie that did it for you?
That was the movie that did it. I have a very vivid memory of that. And so yeah, like I think the stuff that has that sugar high pacing and stuff like that is just not stuff that holds up to anyone who is, not a toddler.
I wish that they would have just actually killed Dasher, and it would have been a gory scene, and they would have walked in, and there'd just been blood fucking everywhere, like guts out, Dasher's dead. Like, not that like he like got mildly punched by the saber-toothed tiger, and of course Mrs. Claus and the elves will heal him eventually. But like, I wish they would have like mauled Dasher.
Well, so have you watched, because I have not seen, but there was like last year, there was that David Harbour violent Santa movie called Violent Night. There is this year the John Woo, Joel Kinnaman action Christmas movie, Silent Night. Like, there are...
Silent Knife?
No, Silent Night, I think.
I just wanted to watch a movie. I think it was called Oh Holy Knife or Silent Knife. It's one of these.
It's a Wonderful
really
Knife?
Good. It's a Wonderful Knife, yes.
That's what you want, though, right? You want these like weird, kind of fucked up, dark Santa stories.
I want Silent Night,
That'd be
Deadly
really
Night.
fun.
I had high hopes for about 45 seconds.
Okay.
The sequel, pulling a Home Alone 2, Lost in New York, and just kind of doing the same movie in a different setting, I think would have been fine. And I think it would have been an interesting swap to put Santa as the fish out of water and make him get stuck on a tropical island for Christmas. I thought that's where we were going. Because there is something, when you've grown up in the Northeast. I had a Die Hard Christmas last year. I flew out to LA on Christmas night and spent the holiday with my girlfriend's family. December 26th, I was sitting by an open in-ground pool, and it felt insane. Yep. Seeing palm trees with Christmas lights, seeing a Santa out felt like they were stealing War on Christmas valor. Like, it was wild. And so there is something weird to me as a elitist Northeasterner who was like, there is like putting Santa in that environment would be interesting. And then no, we could only afford to have this set for like half a day, for as long as we could have Tyrese.
So what I think is also kind of funny about like trying to put him in other places that aren't the North Pole is they send him to that airport. They're like, where's Christmas morale the lowest it's ever been? It's like an airport in 1990.
Boston.
I mean, fair.
Specifically.
But I think it's just very funny. They're like, Chris Columbus is like, can we just do Home Alone again? Like Airport 1990?
He really did. Yes, it was 100%.
You guys like that movie, right? Like, what if we remix it?
Did you notice the straight up match cut that is a reference to Home Alone? And I don't think I'm thinking too deep
the
into
woman
this.
at the counter and the band sitting there. Like, I thought
so there
that part.
is that, but also it hard cuts to them watching the every time a bell rings an angel gets its wings scene in A Wonderful Life dubbed in Elvish. Mm-hmm. They do that in Home Alone when they cut to the McAllisters in France. It's dubbed in French at that exact scene.
So he puts it like they're also watching that in Gremlins. Like I think every Christmas movie he writes,
he's only seen one Christmas movie.
He puts that in there. Like that's like his like.
He sucks.
He discovered America.
Like as a full pasta blooded Italian, that man does not represent us.
What did you think
Which
of the
one? Both
song?
Yeah.
The song and dance duet between Darlene Love and Kurt Russell, though. Like I like Kurt Russell as a song and dance man. I wasn't expecting that to be. I mean, I know he played Elvis in Elvis.
I wasn't expecting it, but he's good. He's good. Kurt Russell's the best part of this whole movie. I love the dance number. I hate musical numbers. I hate musicals. I hate Christmas movies. And I was like, that's kind of fun and silly. They did some backflips.
Yeah, it was nice to see another Christmas movie alumnus in Darlene Love as the mom from all of the or Danny Glover's wife in all of the Lethal Weapon movies. Yeah, she was a nice little cameo. But I thought that whole sequence was not necessarily the song and dance sequence. I thought the whole airport sequence was absolutely batshit.
In like a fun way at all, or just completely bad?
No.
I like the money thing. The money thing actually did crack me up because I was like, oh, they're not going to know this fucking money.
The whole, I mean, do we need to go plot for plot here? This movie's insane. Nope. Okay, so no one's going to understand this movie, and that about puts you on the same plane as us watching it.
I know that Jason Rainey watched it and didn't like it. I was like looking at some people who follow us on Letterboxd, and
yeah,
he didn't like this movie.
Meeting the dad at that age is, as soon as she met him, I knew that that's what they were doing.
Of course.
And it's
absolutely
just, there's no actual emotion to meeting her.
Nope.
I mean, they could have pulled it Back to the Future here. They could have had like a brief crush, and the
brother
could have started disappearing from a picture or something.
No, I wanted them to make out. That's what I wanted.
Ugh. Well, so
and then
also,
she'd be like, "Ooh, my dad."
like, what's funny is that, like, funny in a way that, like, is frustrating. Like, the only thing this girl wants. So, for reference, if you have not seen this movie, like, 13-year-old Katie Cat, in the first movie, she's trying to grieve the loss of her dead dad, right? And, like, literally the only thing this character wants in either movie is to say goodbye to her dad. And then, like Chris is saying, she does, and it's, like, so flat.
Well, she meets him at the airport, and she notices his Swiss Army knife that's engraved.
Yep. And she goes, "Are you blah, blah, blah from Lowell, Massachusetts?" He goes, "How do you know my name? I didn't tell you that." She goes, "Bye, Dad. I mean, Doug." And, like, that's closure for her.
And Santa's like, "We got to get the fuck out of here, dude." And she's like, "Okay." And that's it.
I mean, we could have even had a moment of like, "Hey, Dad, on December 16th, 2018, don't get in that car at 9:50 p.m."
She comes back, and then her dad's there, and Tyrese is like the bartender at the resort or something like that. He's driving the shuttle bus for them.
Once again, do literally anything with the plot points that you set up.
Yep.
Basic storytelling 101. But again,
we just want to smoke meth and look at Minions. That's what we want to do.
The setting, I think, hurt the movie quite a bit. I think setting it in Santa's village or workshop, or whatever,
Mrs. Claus's village.
Yeah, I think the part that makes Santa interesting in all of these Christmas movies, or even like Elf is a great example, right? You're taking the happy, sugar rushed, mythical creature that everyone doesn't believe in, and putting them in the real world, and that's like the interesting thing about that. But taking the kids and putting them in Santa's village for more than 10 or 15 minutes, it's just there's no movie here.
It needs to be a glimmer. They just need to see it. Yeah, they just need to see it. If you try to expand on Santa's village, then you lose the magic of it. Like, it's so much better of don't show the monster situation, right? Like, it just needs to be whatever you imagine it as. When you start putting boundaries on it, it's like, these are where they build the video games, and these are where they build the toy. You're like, okay, well, now it's not fun anymore because I imagine something different.
I liked seeing it back in the day when they showed, like, Belsnickel becoming disenchanted by it, like, the different, like, what it once was.
Absolutely.
But we don't need to spend so much of the time there just in, like, around.
Drawing Santa's village.
Again, it's hard to not compare a Christmas movie to other Christmas movies, but like Elf again does that right. It shows the whimsy of it in that Rankin and Bass style for like 15 minutes, and that's all you need. That's all you need.
One thing, two things we've been doing all lap. Number one, we've been looking at the crazy credits on IMDb. Chris, I don't know if you know crazy. Do you know crazy credits?
No.
They are user submitted descriptions of things in the credits you might not otherwise suspect. Like, for instance, it came around because, like, in Airplane, they credited Adolf Hitler as worst boy instead of best boy, and so people laughed about that and put that as a catalog in IMDb. There are none here, unfortunately, for us, or maybe fortunately, I don't know. Also, like, Netflix is just like as soon as the credits roll, it's like, boom, smash cut to what do you want to watch next, right? So, like, they don't give a shit.
Yes.
But the other thing we've been doing all lap long, because this is the planes, trains, but no automobiles lap, even though we did cover planes, trains, and automobiles, is we've been keeping track of the non-car vehicles. And I think for a movie that features a fair amount of travel, is there even a car in it?
I don't know if we saw the shuttle bus, but they reference the shuttle bus. The parents
we
get
maybe
on
see a shuttle bus
shuttle
in the background, like she wants to go to the airport or whatever. But like in terms of just like a car, because I have like 5 or 6 different vehicles, I don't even remember now seeing a car.
Belsnickel drifts a golf cart.
Well, golf cart I have for sure.
Golf cart I have. Yeah.
Yeah, Joe, what do you have non-car vehicles?
Golf cart.
Yep.
Sleigh.
Yep.
Shuttle bus ?
Sure.
Elf scooters.
Ooh, okay.
The elves have scooters at one point when they show you Santa's village. And commercial airplane.
Yeah. Okay. Anything else?
The elf drone that Belsnickel has at the end, if you want to consider that a vehicle, but nobody's in it. He's manning an unmanned drone.
Well, at the very end, they parachute down, parachute unclear whether
parachute.
But also, as we're watching them walk to the resort where she's like, Tyrese, I actually love you. You're good for my mom. People carrying surfboards in the background, too.
Carrying surfboards, not using. And surfboard is a contention. Chris, what is a surfboard a vehicle?
That's an interesting question. That's
so here's let's start a little bit lower. Is a bicycle a vehicle?
Yes.
Is a skateboard a vehicle?
God, I feel What an interesting question.
While he ponders that, I also have the only other one I have is Bell Snickles Bell Snickle has a sleigh as well. Like it's also a sleigh, but he's got like a
Sleigh.
a more
I
modern
counted
sleigh.
both as sleigh.
I want to
yeah.
say no, but here's the thing.
Skateboard, you say no.
Because at least a bike has like chains and there's some sort of like physics involved that isn't just like
You push the skateboard with
self-propelling.
your foot.
Self-propelling, I feel like, is the thing that makes it not a vehicle. However, what do you call it if not a vehicle?
Exactly.
A method of transport. Yeah, I don't know. Like this is something that like we're like, oh, we got it. We'll just do all the non-vehicles, and then like
Chris, is a horse a vehicle?
Yes, but don't say that in front of them.
is if Joe gives
In
you
front of horses?
if Joe gives
Very
you a
offensive.
piggyback ride, is Joe a vehicle?
Ooh,
We've had piggyback rides, and we've questioned it.
great.
Like in RRR, there's a piggyback ride, and Joe's like, he's a vehicle,
it's getting dangerously close to is a hot dog a sandwich?
which it is.
That's the whole.
Well, what's
question.
funny is that like Joe and I like both did not look it up, had like the same exact idea of like basically everything's a vehicle, and we got such blowback from everyone across the board. Like, that's not a vehicle. That's not a vehicle. Your definition's insane. And we're like, I don't know. I think we're right.
Well, you know it's definitely a vehicle, and I will. This is the hill I will die
What?
on. I will no
What?
longer die on the hill of that Tokyo Drift is not very good, since there's been worse Fast and Furious movies since I've been on that episode. I will die on the hill that. And please send all of your emails to I don't give a shit at gmail.com. Wheelies are absolutely a vehicle.
Heelys?
Yeah.
Oh, like beep.
Like the shoes that have the little wheels in them.
See, but that doesn't have a chain. You were
Also a
confused
vehicle.
by
No,
the
you
skateboard.
guys won me to my side. To your
Okay.
side. Also, tech deck vehicle.
With your finger skateboard. Finger
Absolutely.
skateboards are a
It's very
vehicle.
small vehicle.
What about soap shoes? You remember soap shoes?
I do. You know what? Vehicle.
Sweet. Joe, do you remember soap shoes?
Yeah, fucking A, I do. They were sick as fuck.
Your
I didn't
legs?
have any.
Vehicle.
If people out there listening don't remember soap shoes were kind of shoe that had like in the
A
side
hard plastic
Yeah.
middle arch.
that basically kids would grind on like hallway
Bleachers. Yeah.
like little like the little raised thing on the side of like a school hallway, like you would like
Do they
basically,
still make them? That's like the sickest
grind
fucking
on
thing. I
that.
should have asked for soap shoes for Christmas.
you know.
God, I would just be just grinding everywhere. I would break my ankle in like 3 seconds.
Is an RC car a vehicle?
Well, so
I don't know.
we are of the mind that like it needs to be able to transport a thing,
A person.
a person or like a thing, like a living thing. So like if you put like a little mouse on a tech deck, sure.
That's adorable.
Like the squirrel on the water skis.
We've been
That's a
close to
vehicle.
being convinced that like a parachute or a paraglider, like a hang glider, like things that you can't like go up are not a vehicle. Like if you're just being governed by the wind, it might not be, but
I think hang glider, yes. Parachute, questionable.
I think it's just fun to know that there are people who get mad at you for your definition of vehicle when language is a fluid and ever evolving social construct.
Chris, you once had a
which
podcast.
is why
people get mad at us for everything.
yeah, that's why I will say things like actually a paper plane is a vehicle because someone out there is red and nude in their car right now, and that makes me really happy. That's my Christmas miracle.
I have a question for you guys. What do you think Dominic Toretto's favorite Christmas movie is?
Ooh, I like that question a lot.
Because I could go many ways with this, and I was like, I don't have a definitive answer. I could be swayed so many ways, but I have a thought.
I
He
think
might have
he
been like
loves,
the patient zero of Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
I think he loves.
I don't
Elf.
think so.
I think he loves Elf.
Elf was on my list. I could definitely see a Dom Toretto
just
like,
him
we have to watch Elf.
Giggling. I think he also likes the classics. I think he probably like a Bing Crosby, like a White Christmas, like a.
I
old-timey-
100%. That was my other thing. I can think that he's like, look, your grandfather showed me a White Christmas 17 years ago. It's like with their fucked up math.
when I was 4 years old.
yeah.
Dominic Toretto will admit openly because he is not. He does not abide by toxic masculinity. He will openly admit that he cries at the end of Frosty the Snowman every year.
I think so, but also the cross is such a big part of it. I think there has to be a lot of Jesus in the Christmas movies that he likes too.
Oh man, is he one of these guys that watches the Ten Commandments every Christmas?
Maybe that's what I'm asking.
I don't love
like,
that.
Maybe it's like a teaching moment about his religious beliefs.
How many times do you think Dom saw Passion of the Christ in theaters?
I just don't get that vibe from him.
Once. I think he went once, but he also made out
Wait,
with
so that
Letty
movie
in
came
the
out,
theater.
what, 2004? So
Yeah.
So 2004, like in the retrofitting of the timeline, means it's the first movie. So he's not really wanted yet.
I think he saw it once. I think he kissed Letty during it, and I think he was like, "What?"
That's such a weird movie to make out to.
Better
When
than
they're
Schindler's
dressed
List.
like that, yeah.
Okay, fair. What do you think of the young Kurt Russell as Saint Nick in Turkey flashback that we got?
I think he looked oddly like Hagrid, and I was thrown
Ooh.
off considering that Columbo directed the first two Harry Potters. The Just for Men beard was very Hagrid, and the big robe.
I missed the 0.3 milliseconds of that. Can you explain what happened in
So
that scene?
when Mrs.
Santa
Claus
lore, buddy.
is reading the titular Christmas Chronicles
Yes.
to the young boy, so he falls asleep.
Yes.
She's telling a story about how back like he's been Santa for 1,700 years.
I remember
Saint,
that. Yes.
Saint Nicholas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when he was like in the land, because like they're also like prefacing this as Santa and Katie fly to Turkey with Belsnickel, trying to beat Belsnickel there or whatever. And they're just showing him like leaving toys and stuff, and like, you know, walking around Turkey. But like he looks like Kurt Russell, but just like with like, you know, dark brown.
Can I ask you a question? How did they have to recharge the star? Because I don't remember that either.
It was just
Why?
a nuke from the sky with
Yeah.
no explanation.
So there was a star. It got because like they're like we have to get to the star before he does, and then it's just like then they're in Turkey.
The little Gandalf elf had his crew forge one in like 8 seconds.
Okay. That
I think
makes
he even
sense, I
said
guess.
fire up the forge or something like that, and then Santa just held it up in the air. And
Yes. No, I remember that.
that's
No,
it.
I'm saying like why there was the first star,
Oh,
and then
well,
all of a sudden they're in Turkey.
there was the first star, and all of a sudden they're in. I think the implication was the star that guided the wise men to
But
Jesus.
but they didn't explain. There was like the star that was at the top of the thing. They're going to like he goes and takes it, and then they're like we have to remake it. I was like, what the fuck did I miss?
Oh, it got blown up in the Force duel between the two. It was the exact same scene as when
Okay.
in Star Wars when they're fighting over the lightsaber and it splits in half. That exact thing happened.
Okay, they just shattered it.
Yep, just shattered it.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool.
You gotta. I know this movie is very complicated.
You write one note down, and I look up, and we're in like fucking Turkey. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the fuck did I just miss?
This
So-
movie is exactly like Mulholland Drive, where you have to watch it a bunch of times before you really understand it.
One thing that this movie actually did remind me of that was Fast and Furious related because of the cookies that they do everything is in Spy Racers. Remember they have the gum
Spy Racer.
that has like they have all this different spy gum that has every different use.
Chris doesn't know this, but he was gonna love this one. So they established that there's spy gum that they can make do anything you want if you use the gum, and they never use the
They
gum.
maybe do one thing with it. And so they're like these cookies do everything. And the only thing we ever see the cookies do is blow stuff up.
Did anyone
Yeah.
else get a little mad for no reason at the fact that she pulled out a tray with 3 different shaped cookies on it and then only gave him 2 of them?
Yes, yeah. That was
I was
very
like, what does
Spy
the Christmas
Racer.
tree do?
I wanted to know. I thought she was gonna be like, "Here, take all of these." He's going to have to use all 6,
Yeah.
8 of these cookies. He did not. He absolutely didn't. He just didn't fucking matter.
Nope, the Christmas magic was inside of him all along.
The only ones that worked were the exploding ones, the courage one, fake out. Just
Okay.
gotcha.
I will cop to getting one chuckle out of this movie. It was not the airport scene like yours was. It was when he throws the gingerbread man and the gingerbread man screams.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah.
I actually got
Before it explodes,
I got a sensible chuckle out of that.
But isn't the gingerbread man just from what's the cartoon that had the gingerbread
Shrek.
man in it that scream? Yes, there you go. It was the same shit to me. That
American
one, I was like,
classic Shrek.
that's our
R.I.P.
swamp.
Smash Mouth.
It's our swamp. Do you know the Shrek video, Chris? This seems like something like "This is my swamp." It's not ogre. It's never ogre. The one where like the Shrek. It's like the animated Shrek story from 4chan that's
much
just
like
about
the
you having sex with
B-movie-
Shrek.
Much like the B movie memes, I sort of missed the whole like early 2010s Shrek as a meme movement.
Before that, there was like this 4chan story about like Shrek is love, Shrek is life. Like you don't remember-
I've heard that. Yes.
Yes, yeah. Like the cartoon animated of it is probably one of the greatest things I've ever seen in my life.
You know,
And
I've
something we
never
reference a lot.
seen a Shrek movie all the way through.
Me neither.
Probably for the best.
Yeah, still haven't. Still happy.
Doesn't matter.
Yeah, I'm good.
Do either of you have any more thoughts about the Christmas Chronicles Part 2?
God, I just wanted the movie I wanted at the end of the first one that I referenced, the movie in my head that I referenced was just like a wholesome yet horny Mr. and Mrs. Claus having like a fun adventure as fish out of water, similar to the first one, but not identical. And I didn't get that. And I have there's disappointment that I will forget the moment we stop recording this podcast.
I really liked that when the children were like, "Can we sleep over, Santa?" He's like, "Nah, I like kids from afar, not like in my house." And his apprehension and disdain for them trying to like force their way to spend a night in Santa's village was pretty reassuring. I was like, that's probably my favorite iteration of Santa is one that like likes children, but just from a distance. Like, I will give you presents, but like I don't want to be your friend. Don't stay at my house. Go away. You have parents. Leave me alone.
Yeah, the Clauses have always been that cool uncle. You know, like the dink kind of double income, no kids kind of. People who are like they're your favorite uncle, especially around the holidays. Like you get the coolest toys. They let you do a couple of things that maybe your parents wouldn't approve of. And I wanted more of that. And you know, it was lovely to have some Goldie, but not enough, and too much.
Give me more Goldie.
Too much Sugar Rush Fortnite raised on Minecraft whimsy that I just found intolerable because I'm close to the grave.
Well, let's watch the 2-minute and 47-second long trailer. Though the 1 hour and 58-minute movie was not enough. We are going to watch the Christmas Chronicles
movie's way too fucking long.
2, starring Kurt Russell and Goldie Hawn. Official trailer Netflix posted by Netflix 3 years ago. 2.3 million views. Top comment: love that Goldie and Russell are bringing their chemistry to the screen.
That was my post.
All right, are you guys ready to watch this?
I kind of bummed that Teddy's not in it much.
Yeah, I don't know who that. Yeah, whatever.
That's the brother. That's
Teddy. Okay.
I'm assuming just by the context clues.
Do you think do you think they just wrote that kid out because he also had a scheduling like conflict, or do you think they just Columbo was just like, this is a movie for babies?
I think it's Netflix was like, we give you 1 day with the kid because he wants paid too much and you kind of need him. So you got what you got.
I also think that like they probably, for I think good reason, said we can't rehash the first movie again. We need to try something new.
I'm with Chris though. Give me the same movie again. Just fucking do it in Mexico. I'd have been happy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm ready whenever you are.
All right, 3, 2, 1, play. Are reindeer vehicles?
Absolutely. If you are riding them.
That's what I was. If you're riding them, yes.
If they are pulling your car, they are a source of power. Big difference. They are essentially
then the
an
sleigh
engine.
is the vehicle.
They are an engine.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell. Good Lord, what a graceful ager.
Yeah, he looks the same.
Beautiful
for
man.
Like 20 years.
Beautiful man.
That could be McCready, and I would just be like, yeah, totally.
I was also like, every elf, I'm like, is this a voice actor I know? And no.
Also, Goldie also aged fucking wonderfully.
Yeah.
She looks great too. I like that he just took them to fucking Diagon Alley, by the way.
Another, more Columbo just biting off his old hits.
Yeah.
Christmas star. Created by the forest elves in 312 AD.
Oh.
The star protects us and keeps us hidden. And I'm here to steal.
Why the fuck do we have forest elves? Shouldn't they all be in Santa's village? It's like a day before Christmas. Like, don't you like round everybody up?
I feel like by that point you're like, you know what? We did the best we could. There's nothing more. Just go home.
Without the star, the North Pole, the village, Christmas is doomed.
Uh-oh.
Like forever.
Forever?
Like, I do wonder like this trailer has 2.3 million views on YouTube. But like, who's watching
It's
this
children
trailer?
on meth. Children on meth.
Hold on tight. This might get a little rough.
Isn't it dangerous out there?
Like, don't you know based on just everything about it whether you're going to watch it or not?
Isn't this child just like a younger version of the kid from Stranger Things? It's just like his little brother.
Oh, that's okay.
They look identical.
Spend every hour of every year getting ready for one lousy day.
A day that brings joy to children.
This also does feel like it suffered from the marvelization of it. Like, what if the kid had a power glove?
Yeah, agreed.
Why are there cannons in Santa's village? What did they use them for that's not to drug the elves?
Fireworks?
But cannons?
I don't know, man. They're magic cannons.
Defense, man. There's a war on Christmas.
Oh God, yes. There's a
Does
war
anyone-
on Christmas.
Does anybody...
Wait, what did Chris say?
He said the cannons are for defense. There's a war on Christmas. Sorry.
Hot take here, and this maybe is going to get you guys some more hate.
I think we've done enough for hate. Like you can't get worse. So go ahead.
Who actually, kind of like candy corn, who actually likes candy canes?
I love candy canes.
Candy
Don't
canes
tell
are
me.
the thing you get and throw away. immediately.
No.
Or like you have like 3 licks and you're like,
No,
yeah,
I like a candy cane.
I like peppermint. I
Really?
like peppermint.
Yeah.
I love peppermint like mints. I'm a big peppermint guy.
I will say that I do. Your anti-candy cane or anti-candy corn take is correct. I hate that stuff.
I agree.
But
They suck. They're just wax.
I'd
They're
rather have a
fucking
candy corn than
shit.
a candy cane.
What?
Oof.
Yeah.
No,
I know.
no, candy canes are fine. Candy canes are absolutely fine.
something-
And now you got like Starburst flavor and fuck it. There's been a
No,
lot.
don't
I've
give
been
me- don't
talking
give
a
me
lot
that.
about.
Don't give me
I
a
can't buy
sweet
it.
candy cane.
I've been talking a lot about candy innovations. And since I have not been eating sugar, there's been many other advancements that I'm disappointed
Were
in
you talking
myself
about
in.
Starburst candy corn or Starburst candy canes?
Well, they make both, but the candy canes are pretty good. They make like Starburst flavored candy. You can buy like sick ass candy canes now. So like, Mr. Chris, if you don't like peppermint candy canes, they make all kinds of flavor. It's just fucking hard
What I
candy,
loved
bro.
doing as a kid
Jolly Rancher flavor
Was like trying to figure out how much you'd have to eat of the candy cane before you could fit the whole thing like horizontally in your mouth, like from cheek to cheek.
Oh,
Yeah, I
did
did
you
that a
ever
few
did you ever
times.
sharpen the end and make a shank with it?
course.
That's a real.
Yeah,
Oh,
but I didn't
that's the
stab
best.
anybody. You as you were talking about that, you gestured like stabbing someone. Like I didn't stab anybody. of
I
course.
was imagining stabbing. So I've never.
Or
killed
like you
with
ever go to
candy
like
cane.
a Disney World and you get like the big ass like lot like the huge like the circle round.
the one that's a circle that's a neon color.
no
Those suck ass.
like a long straight like either candy cane or candy cane style thing that like just takes like weeks to eat.
No, I remember the like shitty ones that looked like it was like one rope that like started in the middle and spirals out, and they were like neon colors, and they always just taste like ass. It's like citrus flavored ass. They're really gross. Hate those. Not a good candy. But we've come a long way.
I've got an elevator pitch here. You just like you
Okay.
sparked some genius in my head.
Okay.
Because we said before we want to bring back holiday horror, right? Jason Blum, I know you're listening. The Candy Cane Man. It is the Candy Man, but he's got a sharpened candy cane as his hook hand, and
Oh.
he goes around fucking up people who are naughty on Christmas.
I think that I want it, but I also want it to be like the icicle murders. Like it's the perfect murder because there is no weapon. You know, like I want the like candy cane to melt in them. So it's like they were stabbed, but we can't find a murder weapon. Just all of this peppermint flavoring.
I feel like we're getting dangerously close to that Jack Frost movie at this point.
Probably.
I bet there were a lot of kids who accidentally rented the horror Jack Frost, thinking it was the Michael Keaton is a snowman Jack Frost movie. Probably fucked up a lot of kids.
I hope so. That would be awesome. That would be my. If you've had that happen to you, please write into family@cageclub.me and tell us how that ruined your childhood.
So the letterbox game, for reference sake, Mad Max, we haven't done this in a while. Mad Max Fury Road has been seen by 1.6 million people. The Christmas Chronicles Part 2. Directed by Columbo, as Chris has been calling him, starring Kurt Russell, Goldie Hawn, and Darby Camp, has been seen by how many people?
Well, the trailer's been seen by 2.3 million.
Yes.
Do you think that all of them went and watched the Christmas
No,
Chronicles.
children on meth. You cannot judge anything by something that children watch on YouTube. Have you ever seen like the most popular videos on YouTube?
That's
They're
like Elsa and Spider-Man.
It's like
doing
Elsa
weird
and
things.
Spider-Man fighting
Yeah.
SpongeBob and then like making out. It's so weird.
I don't
Yes,
even know what a
exactly.
Mr. Beast is.
I do, sadly.
So it's not how many people have seen the Christmas Chronicles. It's how many
Logged
people
it
have
on Letterboxd.
logged it on Letterboxd. Well, I am one of those people. So how many of us are there? I'm gonna say if there was 2.3 million views, I'm gonna say there was 2,300 people who have logged it on Letterboxd because I bet there's a lot of Letterboxd nerds.
2,300? So
Yes, because I think there's a lot of Letterboxd nerds who may have seen it but will absolutely not log that kind of shit.
I was gonna go closer to 34,000 because I think there's a lot of people around our age that have kids that just love logging shit on Letterboxd. So I think it would be a little bit higher, not super high, because it is a children's movie and hopefully children aren't on Letterboxd. But I'm gonna go 34,000.
You're both too low.
No kidding.
Yeah.
And also, I've seen the scores for the Taylor Swift movie. There's definitely children on Letterboxd.
I mean, I'm inflating that shit too, but you know.
More hate mail for you guys.
How can
Enjoy.
you watch the Eras Tour and not give it 5 stars?
Because I need to bring balance to the world.
Chris gave it 1.5 star. I'm totally fine with Tay, but some fucking balance needs to be restored to the universe, folks.
Yep.
1 like.
Good job.
That had like 4.8 on Letterboxd, which is insane. It was fine. She's fun. I like Taylor. Okay, so fascinating question. So we were both too low at 34,000,
Yes.
which was the high guest.
I
Wow.
thought you were gonna say like 100,000. Like that's where I thought you.
Yeah,
were
yeah,
gonna
no.
start.
I saw you said 230,000. That's why I was like 2,300.
I guess I just don't have a good point of reference for the low end of Letterboxd because like 1.7 million for Fury Road. Okay. All right.
The low end, like Miracle Mile that we watched was like.
Well,
what,
we've
like
seen people. We've seen
45?
movies that have like 23 people at a time.
Yeah, I've logged a couple of
and
horror
like
movies.
a low movie is like 2,000. That's like low.
Yeah, I've logged a few horror movies where like everyone who has logged it could get into a mimosa brunch and it would not be that expensive.
Yeah.
All right, so we got to go higher. I mean, I'll stick with my number as Jim Carrey would, the number 23, and I'll say 230,000.
Okay.
I'm gonna go 58,000.
Now you're both too high.
Okay.
Oh wow! So
58
I'm
and
just gonna yield. Yeah,
34.
'cause he's the one who found the bookend, so I will just yield to him. I'm not good at this game.
46.
47, 759. 47,759 average rating.
I wasn't
of
that
2.4.
far off on the first rip.
Most common a 3, then a 2, then a 2.5. How many out of those 48,000 have it in their top 4 favorite films of all time?
We're
have
so
to hope
dildoed
none.
because it's Christmas. No, we're so dildoed because it's Christmas, dude. Like people might have changed it into it. It's greater than 0.
No,
there's definitely a couple.
I'm gonna say 2 because
Nah.
Chris Colombo and his mom have Letterboxd accounts, so 2.
Chris Colombo's mom has 2 Letterboxd accounts and she logged it twice. I'm gonna say, fuck me, 59.
Somewhere between 2 and 59.
Okay, so I'm in the game now.
36.
12.
Somewhere between 2 and 12. One more guess.
24. Last guess.
No, between 2 and
That's
12.
not how math works.
Oh, 2 and 12.
Yeah,
I
sorry.
thought you
Times
said-
12.
Yeah.
Sorry. I thought Chris brought up the bottom end. Between 2 and 12, 6. I don't know.
Let me say lucky number 11.
10. 10 people. Before we get to those, this movie is his 12th most popular film on Letterboxd. That is directed.
Kurt Russell?
Columbo.
Colombo.
Oh, Colombo.
Yeah, that checks out.
How many can you name of the top 11?
Um,
4 of them
Harry
are very
Potter's.
easy.
Harry Potter's,
well,
Home
I would
Alone.
say 6 of them are very easy.
Okay, so 2 Harry Potters, 2 Home Alones are the top 4.
2 Home Alones, Mrs. Doubtfire.
Number 5.
Yeah.
I stopped there. This is Chris. I passed the torch, my brother. Go ahead.
Did he direct 9 Months?
He did, but that's below in popularity.
Oh, I'm surprised.
He's directed 17, and that's his 14th most popular.
Boy, I avoid him like the plague.
I will say there's one other one that's quite good.
He didn't know.
Joey mentioned another one at the beginning of the episode that I don't remember.
No.
You said like
No, I said
Harry
the guy
Potter's,
he
Home
wrote
Alone.
he wrote Gremlins. He didn't direct Gremlins.
Yeah, he
Oh,
wrote
that's right.
Gremlins.
Okay, sorry.
He can't do both. He can't juggle. He can do one or the other. He needs someone to write a script for him, and then his movies are not atrocious.
Movies I have not seen: Percy Jackson and the Lightning Thief. He did the adaptation of Rent.
Oh yeah,
He did Bicentennial Man with Robin Williams.
Yeah, he did.
He did Stepmom with Julia Roberts.
I did not know that.
The movies that I have seen below Christmas Chronicles 2 is I Love You, Beth Cooper. Above it is Pixels, the Adam Sandler film Pixels.
Joey's favorite movie.
That should send you to
Joey's
movie jail
favorite
forever.
movie.
But the one other
Joey loved Pixels.
good
Everybody
movie,
tell
Give me,
Joey
like-
how much he loves Pixels.
Give me one actor in it.
it's from the 80s,
Okay.
features a young Keith Coogan.
Who the fuck's Keith Coogan?
Keith Coogan from Don't Tell Mom the Baby. Oh, Keith Coogan is only notable because he's Kate Hudson's like favorite actor. That's not actually helpful.
Do you guys notice that Joey plays this game very differently?
No.
Somebody that knows the actors.
In my head,
because he
in
gave
my
Chris
head,
like a good actor.
In my head, Keith Coogan was like a clue, but it's because Kate Hudson loves Keith Coogan. So like on Brian's podcast, every time he comes up, it's like a
She just
thing.
goes
and
off?
so I was like, oh, that's a guy that people know.
All right, wait. Let me just again. Great.
No, it's not going to help. I will say
content.
Bradley Whitford is in here as the lead's boyfriend.
Bradley
The
Cooper.
lead actor, the only one that's actually going to help you here, is Elizabeth Shue. 80s movie Elizabeth Shue, directed by Columbo.
Is she in Adventures in Babysitting?
Adventures in Babysitting.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm gonna guess he didn't write and direct it. Again, I don't hate Columbo. I just think he really is bad at doing both. I think he thinks he can do both because he's bros with Steven Spielberg, but he is. I've met Steven Spielberg, and he is no Steven Spielberg. I've
You've
not
met Steven Spielberg?
No, I'm just doing the JFK quote.
All right, so we're going to go. So I found, Squanto Lang gave it 10 out of 10, wrote 10 out of 10, it's only 5 out of 5. Pierce Always Sees Through. Squanto's top 4 are La La Land, Whiplash, Tick Tick Boom, and Christmas Chronicles 2. It's just like Chazelle, this movie, which I thought was pretty funny. But we're going to actually
Whiplash, indeed.
We're going to play KACPEROK Kasparok. Reviewed this December 1st, 2020. They said, I've never seen anything better. 5 stars.
This was their first movie?
Kasparok's number
How do they have
one
3 other movies in their
favorite
top
film
4?
of all time is The Christmas Chronicles 2.
Maybe he's got like
Part 2.
Maybe he's got like the Memento or like the 51st States thing where he just like immediately forgets things after he
I will
experiences
say
them.
2 of this person's other top 4
Are on meth
are
as well.
70s horror films that are considered some of the best movies of all time.
Halloween,
And
Black Christmas.
nope, better.
I mean, I
I mean,
thought
Black
maybe he
Christmas.
was just a big Christmas guy.
Not about Christmas. I love Black Christmas, the original.
Body Snatchers.
Nope.
Other best movie of all. Oh, Jaws.
Thank you for saying it's a horror movie, but no.
That was a big contentious point.
This is also the start of a franchise.
There's a jump scare with a severed head in Jaws.
Don't get me... But I don't fucking think of Jaws as a horror movie.
Joe's like, it's in the summer, it's in the sunshine, it's not a horror movie. I'm like, that's why it's playing.
There's a
at all.
monster. It's a monster movie, sure, but like horror?
That's wild.
So Halloween is Kasparok's number 2. Number 4 is also from late 70s horror, start of a franchise.
Start of a franchise.
One of the best.
Friday the 13th.
Yeah.
Nope.
No, that was 81 though, right? Start of a franchise, not Nightmare. Oh, Texas Chainsaw.
No, that's from the early 70s.
Fuck.
You're missing I will say the sequel to this is not a horror movie. The sequel to this is an action movie.
I think
still
we've
would've
had this
said
one
Texas
before and you've
Chainsaw.
used that clue. Sorry.
Whoa, wait. As like the horror head around these parts, this is gonna bug me. Just cut out all of the dead air because I need to.
Nope.
I need to actually
You suffer.
I need to talk through this.
There's
Start
only
of a
2 genres on
franchise.
Letterboxd. One is horror, the other is
Non-pornographic movie.
science fiction.
In regards to this movie.
This movie.
Oh, Alien.
Alien.
Of course. Derp.
And then Kasparok. So Kasparok, I've never seen anything better. Has seen Halloween and Alien, but still not better than Christmas Chronicles 2. Kasparok's number 3, though, is a remake of a movie that is in our collective consciousness right now for a very similar reason. This remake people do not like.
Is the similar reason Christmas?
Nope.
Home Alone.
'cause of
I was
horror?
gonna go like Home
Nope,
Alone.
it has
3.
nothing to do with horror. Nope, and not just our collective consciousness, like society's collective consciousness right now.
What did they just remake?
What
Wonka.
What's the one that people
great
hate?
call. The Johnny Depp one?
What's it called?
Yeah.
What's it called?
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. So Casper Rock's top 4. The Christmas
That's a
Chronicles
wild
2,
ass top 4, dude.
Halloween, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Alien.
That's wild. That is.
I think that guy is playing Dr. Chris's top 4 to get some fucking heat. That's what he's playing right there. He's like, I've never seen anything better than Christmas Chronicles 2. My 4 favorite movies are these. And you're like, oh, 2 great ones? 2, what the fuck were you thinking,
That
bro?
really could be a shit post.
Yeah. Wow.
Big ups to that guy. Write in, please.
Casper Rock, they don't use it anymore. The only movies they ever actually logged were the 2 Christmas Chronicles movies, so, whatever. But
Okay.
That's a good top 4. Good pick, Joey. Thank you. That was a very
look,
good
I only
pick.
had 10 choices to choose from, 10 options, and found a gem.
That was 10 of 10. That was maximum pick. Good job.
So our next episode is going to be F9, I believe, unless we see Ferrari between now and then, but probably not. Go see Ferrari in theaters. It's out right now as you hear this. Go see Ferrari. Joe and I will talk about it very soon on the main feed.
We will.
So
we will
talk about that. But our next episode is F9 for sure. But Chris, thank you so much for joining us once again.
Thank you, brother.
And I will say there's no Christmas Chronicles. If they ever do a part 3, you have to come back. But you are off the hook for now because there is no part 3. Also, Mike's going to be like, ooh, should I do it for a third time? We're like, please don't.
Well, I mean, look,
we'll get
as long
Mike
as
to join too. But he cannot watch the first 2.
They can win me back. What's
your pitch for the third one? I think we probably did this at the end of the first one. Like, what's your pitch for the second one? What's your pitch for Christmas Chronicles Part 3?
What's my pitch for the third one? If this is The Empire Strikes Back, the lowest point of the franchise, where do we go from here? I think we go with Kurt and Goldie.
Are we just going to
fighting
gloss over
Krampus.
that weird, wild take?
We go with Kurt and Goldie fighting Krampus.
Do we
for the
bring
for the
in
future of
Wyatt Russell, Kurt's kid, who's now playing the same character as him on the Godzilla show?
No. I'm
don't-
sticking with my original idea. Tyrese has to assume Santa Claus. Possibly by eating him, that will be the best option. But Tyrese has to be Santa at the end of the third movie.
I don't think every Santa has a Santa Claus. I think only Tim Allen's Santa has a Santa Claus.
I think Tyrese needs to be Santa. Tyrese needs to be Santa. I think Tyrese needs to become Santa, but he gets Goldie too. That's what I think.
Okay, if we're talking Santa Claus sequels, why don't we merge everything we've talked about? Why don't we bring back some Christmas horror? The Santa Claus 4 or 5, I don't know where we're at.
Well,
Jason
there's a
takes the North
second
Pole.
season
Jason
of
gets
the
Santa
TV
and
show
then
on
gets-
Disney Plus.
I did not know there's a TV show. But how about like Jason gets Santa and then gets Santa Claused and then must kind of wrestle with the fact that he could kill everybody, but he also needs to bring them joy.
Wait, Jason who?
Voorhees.
Jason, yeah.
Oh, Jason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's merge all the concepts here into a real horrendous mutant.
So Jason Voorhees becomes Santa.
Yes.
And has to be true to the fact that
And
he's
he's
a serial killer, but he also has to be Santa.
internally torn
Yes.
between murdering the children or giving them gifts.
I don't hate
And
it.
he can
That's
again,
actually a really good movie.
he
That
can
sounds
go
like very
He
interesting.
can go after the naughty kids.
Oh, he can become one of the Krampus saber-toothed tigers?
Little Silent Night, Deadly Night kind of themes here. In all seriousness, I need to ask this since we are talking about Russell, a national treasure, to be honest. Shout out to Nick Cage. Who do you think has the stronger genetics as evidenced by their children? Kurt and Goldie or Uma and Ethan?
Uma and Ethan, she looks just fucking like a combination of two of them.
Are you talking
split
about like
down
who's
the middle.
giving more Punnett Square or who has better looking kids?
No, he means like
whose genetics has been passed down so evidently because they look exactly like their parents.
I'm not good at that. Like, that's not a question for me, but I think Maya
I
Hawke
think-
does look like like the perfect blend of the two of them.
She looks like the middle stage of an Animorphs cover between Uma and
Yes,
Ethan.
yes, I 100% agree. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, that was a great example, and I don't think you can get better than that.
Yeah.
Because like in both, like in every shot, you're like, oh yeah, those are her parents, 100%.
But if you wanted to do the Christmas Chronicles -1, That's the only way that I would say let's get some Wyatt Russell in there if he's playing a young Santa
Well,
Claus.
we already have Kurt as young Santa in this. You know what I mean? Like,
And it looked like shit. Let's just go full hog here.
yeah.
Let's get Kate and Wyatt to be the young versions.
Oh,
Yeah, okay.
fun.
Fair.
I like
Look,
that.
Netflix is not above stunt casting, okay?
No.
No.
I also like that we just talked about Godzilla in multiple ways with the Christmas Chronicles -1 and also Monarch Legacy of Monsters. Our next episode is F9. As I said, shout out to Cassie Wilson, Nick Burris, Alex Ellen, and Justin Kleiman, Brian Rodriguez of High School Slumber Party, Wes Hampton, Jerry Robinson, Dan the Duke, Hayden Renato D. Donato, Michael McGann, Lane Middleton, Lindsay Lewandowski, Nate Milton of the Kings of Sport, Jason Rainey, Tom Price, Mike Gallagher, Josh Buckley of Whole Lotta Wolves,
Yep.
Michael Moser, Christian Larson, Tara New One, Aaron Willows, Natalie Absolute, Randy Carter, and Josh Goularm, and Jessica Collins, a.k.a. Montez. Thank you all for supporting us the $5 a month level or above. Chris, you have anything to plug? Is Now and
No.
Again coming back?
Oh yeah, Now and Again will be back soon.
Cool.
Keep your
Oh, nice. Fun.
That's not true.
Absolutely not true.
It's just gonna be me monologuing for like an hour and 45 minutes.
I do think if your schedule allowed, you could do just the Carly Rae Jepsen, like the Emotion Minute, but for each of her albums.
Fortunately, I went and did something stupid, and I tried to help people. Huge mistake. Never tried to help people because it's really time consuming.
Ooh.
Yeah, be selfish, guys. It's this Christmas season. If there's one thing
That's
that
what
you
I
take
would
away in the
teach
Christmas
you.
season, yeah, be selfish. Treat yourself.
That's a very Joe Christmas motto.
Well-
Be selfish.
Stay home. Don't see your family. Watch any Christmas movie except the Christmas Chronicles 2. Watch Christmas Chronicles 1.
Even the
Why
first
not?
one's fine.
Yeah.
We got to figure out what we're doing next year, Joe. I'm sure that because we did Noel, we did
We'll find something.
Collateral Beauty, we did these two.
Oh.
Anyway, for all things Too Fast, Too Forever, go to cageclub.me, facebook.com/TooFast2Forever, or @TooFast2Forever on all the platforms. Email us, family@cageclub.me. Check out our Patreon page at TooFast2Forever.com and our store at cageclub.me/shop. And come back next week for F9 to go see Ferrari in theaters. I'm Joey Lewandowski,
I'm Joe too.
and that was Dr. Chris Podcast, who decided to go help people, and we will tell you all about it
Next Christmas.